So imagine turning 75 and waking up completely calm, not lonely, because you finally understood you don't need a crowd to feel whole. In this video, I'll reveal 6 surprising shifts in how your emotional needs evolve after age 70, and how those shifts can free you from chasing friendships that drain rather than nurture. We'll explore new psychological studies, practical habits, and real-life stories you haven't heard before, none of which depend on having a large social circle. You'll walk away with a mapped-out blueprint for deeper peace, not isolation. Stay until the final step, because I'll give you a 30-day ritual that quietly reinvents your inner life and begins attracting the right relationships toward you. That final move often separates those who stagnate from those who thrive. I'm Dr. Eli Morgan, a physician who has spent decades listening to what really changes in people after midlife. I've worked with thousands of older adults, and I've learned this: it's not medicine alone that keeps us alive, it's meaning. My goal is to help you understand the science of peace and how to live it every day. Reason 1, you don't have to prove anything anymore, you only need purpose. When you were young, almost everything you did was about being seen, getting approval from friends, proving you were still sharp, or that you could keep up. But here's the quiet truth that no one tells you. After 70, your brain naturally shifts away from social comparison. MRI studies from Stanford and Oxford in 2024 show that the regions tied to social status sensitivity begin to calm down, while those linked to meaning and emotional balance grow more active. Your mind, quite literally, stops caring about competition and starts craving significance. That is why so many people in later life describe an unexpected sense of relief once they stop chasing validation. Take Mr. Hiroshi, a 74-year-old retired architect. For years he felt restless because his phone stopped ringing after retirement. Then he began mentoring young designers online once a week. He told me, "I realized I didn't miss the people, I missed the purpose." That one shift turned loneliness into legacy. Here's the key idea: purpose replaces performance. You no longer need to impress others, you need to express what still matters. And psychology agrees. Research from Harvard's Human Flourishing program found that older adults who focus on contribution rather than approval show a 34% higher life satisfaction rate and far lower rates of late-life anxiety. Tonight, write down 3 moments from the last year that gave you quiet satisfaction. Not applause, just peace. Keep that list somewhere visible. It's your proof that meaning is already present, waiting to expand. Next, we'll talk about why peace isn't the absence of people, it is the presence of space. Reason 2, peace over noise, the psychology of solitude. Every decade, life teaches us a quieter lesson. Peace isn't the lack of company. It is the absence of pressure. New research from the University of Chicago 2023 shows that when older adults spend intentional time alone, not isolation, but conscious solitude, their stress hormones drop nearly 25% within weeks. The same study found their creativity and emotional regulation scores actually improved. Solitude, when chosen, heals the nervous system like deep sleep for the soul. The mistake is thinking silence equals loneliness. It doesn't. Loneliness is when you want connection but can't find it. Solitude is when you choose space to restore yourself. Mrs. Nguyen, 68, a former nurse I worked with, once filled every weekend with social groups to fight boredom. 1 month after caring for her husband through illness, she cancelled everything for 2 weeks. Just long walks, soft music, and journaling. "I felt myself breathing again," she said. When she finally returned to her friends, she spoke less, but listened deeper. Her circle shrank, yet her peace expanded. Modern psychology calls this intentional solitude. It's the stage where your energy rebalances after decades of output. Instead of fearing quiet, you begin to recover inside it. Schedule 1 silent hour each day. No TV, no calls, no background noise. Notice what thoughts surface first. They often reveal what your heart has postponed. Next, we'll explore how fewer friendships can actually mean fewer disappointments, and why that is a form of emotional wisdom, not withdrawal. Reason 3, fewer friends, fewer disappointments, The science of selective connection. In your 20s, a wide circle of friends felt like proof that you mattered. But past 70, the opposite becomes true. Too many connections can quietly exhaust you. A 2024 longitudinal study from the University of Michigan found that older adults who kept a small, emotionally reliable network reported higher life satisfaction and better immune responses than those with large, loosely connected circles. The reason? Managing too many relationships taxes cognitive and emotional energy that could be spent on joy or learning. Think of friendships like garden plants. Overgrowth drains the soil. You don't need to uproot everything, just prune what no longer blooms. Mr. Patel, a 76-year-old retired teacher, once told me, "When I stopped checking who hadn't called, I suddenly had time to call the ones who actually cared." That's the emotional arithmetic of aging. Subtraction creates clarity. Here's the shift. You're not losing people, you're filtering for alignment. The brain's social reward system, according to Oxford Neuroscience Reviews, grows more selective with age, preferring depth over frequency. That's not cynicism. That's efficiency, built by experience. Write down 3 people who genuinely make you feel lighter after talking with them. Circle them. For the next month, invest your energy there and release the guilt of maintaining every other tie. Up next, we'll talk about something even more limited than your social energy, your time, and how protecting it might be the most powerful act of self-respect you can make. Reason 4. Time is capital. How to guard your most precious asset. There's a strange irony about aging. The older we get, the faster time seems to move, yet we also see it more clearly than ever. That clarity is power, because after 70, time stops being a schedule and becomes a currency. A 2024 Yale School of Public Health report found that people over 70 who consciously protected at least 2 hours of unclaimed time per day had stronger cognitive performance and lower inflammatory markers. In simple terms, when you stop overspending your minutes, your body starts to heal. But many still donate their hours out of guilt, endless favors, phone calls, or social events they don't enjoy. Here is the truth. Every yes you give to something meaningless is a no to your own vitality. Take Nora, 72, who once said yes to everything. Neighbors' errands, clubs, reunions. One day she began using what she called a time audit. For a week, she wrote down how every hour was spent. She realized she gave 6 hours a week to obligations that didn't nourish her. She replaced half with gardening, her long-forgotten joy. Within a month, her blood pressure dropped and her laughter returned. Do your own 7-day time audit. Mark every hour as draining, neutral, or restoring. Keep what restores you. Decline the rest, and politely but firmly. You'll be stunned how many hours quietly leak away to things that no longer matter. Next, we'll explore the deepest friendship you'll ever rebuild, the one with yourself, and how self-companionship reshapes the way you experience every other bond. Reason 5. Becoming your own best companion, the hidden strength of inner friendship. Most people spend their entire lives learning how to connect with others, but very few ever learn how to connect with themselves. After 70, that becomes your most important skill. Psychologists at Harvard's Center for Aging Well found that older adults who engage in reflective solitude, activities that let them listen to their own thoughts without judgment, show markedly higher resilience and self-esteem. It's not meditation in the trendy sense, it's simply keeping yourself company with kindness. Take Helen, 79, a retired librarian. For decades, she dreaded evenings alone. One winter, she began a ritual. She'd make tea, light a candle, and read her favorite poetry aloud, to herself. At first, I felt ridiculous, she laughed, but then I realized I'd become the friend I'd been missing. Within months, her sleep improved, and the anxiety that once filled the quiet disappeared. When you learn to sit with yourself comfortably, you stop demanding that others fill your silence. Paradoxically, that calm confidence makes your remaining relationships richer, because you no longer cling, you choose. Each morning before checking your phone, spend 10 minutes doing something with yourself. Write, stretch, listen to music, or simply watch the sunrise. Treat it as sacred. It's your daily meeting with your oldest companion. In our final lesson, we'll talk about the art of letting go, not as loss, but as liberation, and how that simple act can open the door to a more fulfilling, balanced life. Reason 6. Letting go, opening up. The balance between freedom and connection. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about making space. By the time we reach our 70s, we've collected not just memories but obligations, expectations, and emotional clutter. And here is the paradox: you can discover new joy if your arms are still full of old weight. A 2023 Oxford longitudinal study on emotional resilience found that older adults who practiced selective detachment, consciously releasing roles, relationships, or routines that no longer aligned with their current values, had higher scores in happiness, adaptability, and sleep quality. Letting go literally resets the nervous system's baseline for calm. Consider Miguel, 75, who spent years organizing reunions no one else wanted to attend. One day he stopped. He donated the boxes of name tags and started a small weekend cooking group with his grandchildren instead. "When I stopped trying to keep the past alive," he told me, "I finally felt alive myself." Here is the truth. You can receive new connections if your identity is built around what used to be. So when you release, don't see it as cutting ties. See it as clearing pathways. Pick one ritual, object, or commitment that no longer reflects who you are. Thank it, then remove it from your week. Replace that gap with something that gives light. A walk, a call, a laugh, a breath. Now that you've seen all 6 shifts, it's time to translate them into real-world balance. Because while solitude heals, isolation hurts. Let S look at how to protect your mental and emotional health as you embrace this new freedom. Staying free without becoming isolated. Freedom is healthy, isolation is not. The difference lies in choice. Solitude heals only when you choose it. When loneliness chooses you, it begins to harm the body. A 2024 meta-analysis from King Aides College London revealed that chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease by 29% and dementia by 40%. Meanwhile, people who maintain even 2 consistent emotional connections, a neighbor, a sibling, or a community group, cut those risks nearly in half. So while trimming your circle brings peace, closing it completely brings danger. Here's your safety checklist. If you notice these signs, persistent sadness, forgetting basic routines, or feeling detached from reality, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. It's wisdom. Reach out to your doctor, a local community center, or just one trusted person today. One conversation can pull you back toward balance. Now, to reinforce everything you've learned, let S hear what the experts say and how their findings can shape the way you live the next chapter of your life. What the research really says about meaningful aging, you don't have to take my word for it. The science of aging is rewriting what it means to grow older. Dr. Laura Carstensen from Stanford's Center on Longevity explains that as time horizons shrink, the brain naturally prioritizes emotionally meaningful experiences over social variety, a phenomenon known as socioemotional selectivity. It's biology steering us toward wisdom. Similarly, Harvard's Human Flourishing Program reports that adults who focus on purpose and pro-social acts, like mentoring, volunteering, or teaching, maintain stronger cognitive function and lower rates of depression well into their 80s. In short, your emotional radar sharpens with age. You become better at seeing what truly nourishes you and less tolerant of what doesn't. That isn't decline, that's refinement. The goal now isn't to stay busy, but to stay aligned. So how do you take all this insight and turn it into a new daily rhythm? Let's wrap everything into a simple, practical plan. Your 3-step playbook for fulfilled independence. Your plan for fulfilled independence. Now you know the why. Let's make it real, because knowledge only matters when it's lived. Here's your 3-step playbook for turning solitude into strength and freedom into growth. Step 1. The 10-minute solitude practice. Every morning, sit quietly for 10 minutes. No phone, no music. Just breathe and observe what rises. This small ritual strengthens emotional regulation and grounds your day in calm intention. Step 2. The time audit. For 1 week, track how you spend your waking hours. Then cut 1 hour of obligations that drain you and reinvest it into something that restores you. Walking, painting, learning, or mentoring. Protect that hour like medicine, because it is. Step 3. The 30-day connection challenge. Reach out to one person you trust, or someone you haven't not spoken to in years, and reconnect without agenda. Say, "I thought of you." That's it. Connection doesn't require crowds. It begins with intention. If you're ready to commit, comment below, "I'm starting with step 1, step 2, or step 3. Then share one sentence about why. I'll personally read through and highlight 3 stories in the next video, because your courage might be the spark someone else needs. Before we close, let us revisit the essence of everything you've heard today, and how these shifts redefine what it truly means to age with freedom. The freedom of fewer, the depth of more. Here's what this journey really revealed. You don't lose life when you lose people. You gain space for the right ones. You don't age into emptiness. You age into essence. Each of these 6 shifts is about exchange. Approval for purpose. Noise for peace. Quantity for quality. Obligation for choice. Dependency for inner strength. And finally, attachment for liberation. That's the quiet revolution of later life. Not retreating, but refining. If this message resonated, share it with someone who's learning to enjoy their own company again. And if you'd like more science-backed lessons on aging with clarity and calm, subscribe and turn on notifications. I release one every week. Until next time, I'm Dr. Eli Morgan, reminding you, you don't need many friends to live fully, just the right relationship with yourself.